Hazardous waste.
Type 1, the body's no longer able to produce insulin. So a person living with type 1 has to give themselves insulin to survive.
It's a disease Andrea Carlisle's 4-year-old son, Crew, has lived with his entire young life.
When you're first diagnosed, it's on-the-job training.
It's a nearly 24/7 job.
To check their blood glucose level, you have to prick a finger or a toe.
That has to be done 6 to 8 times a day. It's a disease that means a big lifestyle change, not just for 4-year-old Crew, but for the whole family. Everyone has to watch what they eat, keep an eye on physical activity. It also means being prepared.
So this is where we store our son's diabetic supplies. These 2 shelves are dedicated to his care. And so you'll see here we have syringes, we have his infusion sets that are used for his pump. Then here are some more milk jugs that are kept to store the sharps.
Inside of these old milk jugs and red containers is what health officials consider to be hazardous medical waste.
After we accumulate a few milk jugs or sharps containers full of sharps, then we'll take a trip to the health department and they take them for you and dispose of them properly.
Dr. Homer Rice, administrator of the Leon County Health Department, says from here, the hazardous medical waste is picked up by specially licensed companies that take the trash and often incinerates it. But before it gets here, Dr. Rice says it's important that families are educated about the proper way to handle hazardous waste in their homes.
People need to understand that there is a real danger to them about a puncture.
Dr. Rice says there's many reasons why someone may have to have hazardous waste in their home. He says his department, with the help of local hospitals and clinics, are always working to ensure that people are handling it properly.
Bloodborne pathogens are a major concern. Some of the worst diseases we deal with are carried in your blood. HIV, for instance, of course, is the one that comes right to mind.
Now, of all the ways to properly dispose of hazardous waste, this isn't one of them. Dr. Homer Rice says you should never throw hazardous waste out with the rest of your house trash.
Well, believe it or not, I've had people just throw needles in plastic bags. And when they do that, you've got to remember that even though most of our garbage collection is automated, sometimes the garbage collector has to grab the bag and pull it out of the can, and he'll place his hand down at the bottom, to help lift it. Even with gloves, I've had people punctured with needles through the plastic bags. That's why we strongly encourage everyone, and the law requires that you dispose of those needles properly.
An approved container like this, often extra thick with special openings, so once you put your material in it, you can't get back into it. And again, as Dr. Homer Rice said, there are laws in place that dictate how you can and cannot dispose properly of hazardous waste. For a complete guide of how to properly dispose of hazardous waste, just check out this story on our website, WTXL.tv.